What is it about Al Capone that captures the attention of Americans everywhere? Was it the gore and violence of his gang activity, or was it the tragedy of a family divided? From his control of Chicago to his imprisonment in Alcatraz, a look into the iconic life of America's most famous gangster may help us uncover the secrets of the enigma that is Alphonse Capone.
Al Capone was born in New York City to two Italian immigrant parents in 1899. He grew up in a tenement, but his parents were fairly well off. His life went into decline from an early age. He attended a Catholic school, which forced him to build a tough skin from childhood. He was expelled from school when, at age 14, he was beaten by a teacher, and Capone hit back. It was at this point when Capone got involved with crime. He joined the James Street Gang with an older friend, Johnny Torrio.
Soon after his initial involvement, there was an incident. At this point, Al Capone was involved in the 5 Points gang and was more respected in the business. On the job, Capone was in a saloon and a young hoodlum tried to kill him by slitting his throat, but he missed. Instead, he scratched the side of Al Capone's face. From here on out, Capone would be nicknamed Scarface. Torrio soon moved to Chicago and asked Capone to come with him. When Capone met Torrio in Chicago, Torrio was on his way up the hierarchy. When Torrio's boss did not agree with his ideas, he decided to kill him. It is rumored that either Al Capone or their friend, Frankie Vale, killed Torrio's boss, making him the ruler of the empire in Chicago. Al Capone was the right-hand man to the leader, but it was then when Capone decided to step away from it all. He met May Coughlin and married her. He became a bookkeeper, but only for a short while. Al Capone's father had died, and this pushed him back over the edge towards crime.
By now, the prohibition had started, and bootlegging was making them millionaires. I am like any other man. All I do is supply a demand. Capone would often be seen fraternizing with the press, and he was often well-dressed, but the police could not seem to catch him. He started to gain a celebrity status, and infatuation with the man began. Capone ran a political machine in Chicago by threatening voters with violence and kidnapping election workers. You can get much farther with a kind word and a gun than you can with a kind word alone.
It was February 1929 when Capone's violent and oppressive reputation became enormously apparent. Capone was staging a raid by having his own men dress as police. The bootleggers of Moran's gang all lined up along a wall to surrender to the police, but Capone's men showed no mercy. They murdered each one in cold blood. Capone was in Florida at the time of the St. Valentine's Day massacre, but everyone had an understanding that it was Capone's intelligence behind the raid. People began to become increasingly frustrated with the lack of police success on the capturing of Al Capone, as there was no incriminating evidence. The Supreme Court soon ruled that money earned illegally still needed to be taxed. They can't collect legal taxes from illegal money.
But they did. Finally, Eliot Ness arrested Al Capone for tax evasion. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison. He spent his first 2 years in a federal prison in Atlanta, but was later moved to the haunting Alcatraz, where Capone lost considerable influence. He quickly began to lose his health and suffered from dementia. He was moved to a mental hospital in Baltimore and would die of cardiac arrest in 1947. Capone is widely known as the most ruthless gangster in American history, and his reputation for charisma, violence, and mass destruction will never evade him. I am sick and tired of publicity. I want no more of it. It puts me in the bad light. I just want to be forgotten.